Okay, imagine for a second a world where your computer runs on an OS built by both IBM and Microsoft. I know, it sounds crazy, but that was the plan. Today, we are digging into a corporate divorce so big, so messy, that it didn't just change the future of computing, it basically invented it.
Yeah, this quote pretty much nails it. Long before we were all arguing about iPhones versus Androids, the real foundational battle was for the soul of the computer itself. And the wild part? It was a battle fought by two giants who were supposed to be on the exact same team, IBM and Microsoft. But as we're about to see, partnerships in tech, well, they can get complicated.
So, back in the 80s, this partnership looked like a sure thing. I mean, an absolutely unstoppable force. On paper, they had this shared, incredibly ambitious goal. But underneath all that, the seeds of their future breakup were already being planted.
And their plan was, frankly, audacious. They weren't just building a new operating system, OS/2, to replace the old DOS system. No, they were aiming for total, complete control. By bundling that OS with a powerful database, SQL server, they were creating an entire ecosystem. The vision? A single, unified stack that would lock in every major business for decades. It was brilliant, and it was absolutely a battle for the future.
This right here, this slide gets to the absolute heart of the problem. You had two completely different corporate cultures trying to build one single future. On one side, IBM, the science, the methodical, established giant that built its empire on these big, closed, proprietary systems. And on the other, Microsoft, the hustle, the scrappy, fast-moving upstart that was conquering the world with flexibility and speed. You can just feel it, right? This clash of DNA was a ticking time bomb. And sure enough, as the 80s rolled into the 90s, that ticking got a whole lot louder. That shared dream was starting to fracture, all because of two very, very different visions for what the future should look like. And here's exactly where those visions clashed. For IBM, OS/2 was all about control. It was a bridge to bring their total mainframe dominance over to the desktop. But for Microsoft, they were playing a totally different game. OS/2 was about opportunity. It wasn't the destination, it was a stepping stone, a way for them to learn what they needed to build their own OS and dominate the PC world on their terms. And now we get to the moment. The moment the partnership didn't just crack, it completely shattered, sending an earthquake through the entire industry.
In a move that honestly shocked everyone, Microsoft just walked. They completely abandoned the joint OS/2 project. They were going to go their own way, leaving IBM standing there holding the bag.
But wait, it gets even crazier. They didn't leave empty-handed. In a legendary power play, they took the crown jewel with them, SQL Server. It wasn't going into OS/2 anymore. Nope, it was going to become the engine for their secret weapon, a project that would change everything, Windows NT. Suddenly, the divorce wasn't just about operating systems. The database war had officially begun. But you can't just leave a giant like IBM at the altar and expect them to go down without a fight. Oh no. They doubled down hard on OS/2, determined to win this thing on their own. The lines were drawn in the sand. This was now a direct, brutal war between former partners. And this breakup wasn't just boardroom drama. Not at all. It created a massive fault line that ran right through the entire tech industry, forcing every single developer, every engineer, and every IT pro to ask themselves a simple question: which side are you on? Seriously, think about it. Put yourself in their shoes in 1992. What do you do? This wasn't just about what tech you liked better. For thousands of people, this was a high-stakes gamble on their entire career. And this was the battlefield. These were your choices. On one side, you had the blue stack, IBM's OS/2 and its legendary DB2 database. The safe bet, the legacy choice. On the other side, you had the challenger, Microsoft's brand new Windows NT and the hungry SQL Server. You were either betting on the established giant or the agile upstart, and at the time, nobody knew who was going to win. And the consequences of this decision were so real. I mean, you bet on OS/2, your skills could become totally obsolete overnight. You bet on Windows NT, you could end up riding a wave to incredible success. We're talking about entire careers hanging in the balance, with developers just stranded between these two warring giants. So, after all that, who actually won this war? Well, when the dust finally settled, the outcome wasn't just clear. It was a total knockout.
I mean, just look at these numbers. It wasn't even close. Windows NT didn't just beat OS/2, it absolutely crushed it. Microsoft's vision for the future became the future, the very foundation of enterprise computing for decades. And that massive OS victory had a huge ripple effect. Riding that Windows NT wave, SQL Server absolutely thrived and became a dominant force in the database market. And IBM's DB2? Well, still a powerhouse, but it was largely pushed back into its mainframe-centric corner, losing the broader enterprise war.
So when you boil it all down, this whole story comes back to that fundamental clash of cultures. IBM had the science, the deep, methodical engineering of a true giant. But Microsoft? They had the hustle, that relentless focus on the market and the drive to win, no matter what it took. And in the platform war of the 90s, hustle beat science, hands down. You know, what's really interesting is that this pattern, the established giant versus the agile upstart, we've seen it play out time and time again in the tech world. Which kind of makes you wonder, when you look at the huge battles being fought today over AI or the cloud or whatever's next, who has the science and who has the hustle?